What did you say? Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Braveheart Women Show here on Docstar TV. And I'm your host today, along with beautiful Dawn St. Louis. And we're here to present to you the Braveheart Women's live Q&A from beautiful Guadalajara. Yeah.
Hi, everyone.
Hello. Welcome back. So here we are today, and it's I've been in Guadalajara for about 2 weeks now, and Dawn just got to go and address her daughter. She's got an issue in the other room. So it's all about being Braveheart women, and Braveheart women hold many different hats, and one of the major hats is motherhood. And Dawn was very kind to come down here and be with me because of the fact that I needed to stay here longer so I could recover from my explant surgery. So the surgery was on July 24th, and mine had to have an entire reconstruction of my pectoral area because of where the implants were lying. So I'm still here with tubes in, and still here moving forward on this journey. And I'm so thankful that Dawn came down. Sam and Lorraine went back as they had their commitments, and Sam was able to go back because her surgery was a different surgery, being just under the breast, the skin itself, not under the muscle. So she's well on her way to recovery, and we completed last week was number 5.
Yeah.
Of the implants to explants, self-loathe to self-love. So now today it's all about the live Q&A. So let's get started.
So we've got a couple of questions here. I know we're supposed to liquefy, drink our solids, but how do you ensure that? I find that I get absorbed in my imagination, involved in conversation, or it's just too boring to pay attention. Any advice?
Well, if it's too boring to pay attention is because you're not paying attention. Because when you're in the moment, then that is when you can just truly enjoy and just be. Yeah. And that's what happens when we're eating, is that we're so often, okay, we got to eat because we got to get the kids to bed, or we got to do this, or next thing we need to do is that. And so we're already on the next step. And so when you can just enjoy it and just decide that you're just going to honor yourself, respect yourself, and just move through that place, because it's always about the next moment.
It's so true.
Yeah,
it's so true. We're always in a rush. We're always running late, or we just don't take the time anymore to just focus on just one thing at a time. And chewing is, there's no teeth in your stomach.
No, that's right. It doesn't have a second set of teeth.
No, this is the only place where you can actually, this is your mouth. Chewing is, that's how you pre-digest your food. Your saliva is what starts to break down your food, and the longer it stays in your mouth and you chew it, the better for digestion. So
well, that's right. It's the first stage of digestion, because the enzymatic action of the saliva starts to break it down. So so often it's like chomp, 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 swallow, chomp, 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 swallow. And it's, how many times have you prepared these meals? It's taking you like hours and hours and hours. Everybody sits down, silence, because everybody's so hungry, and all it is pass the salt or pass the gravy. And that's all you hear. We recorded one of our Christmas dinners when I was a child.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And all that happened, all that was on the recording was, please pass the gravy.
Oh my God.
So then we realized what we learned from that was that we needed 2 gravy boats. But So everybody was just like hovering the food down as fast as you possibly could. And that's what you learned. and that's and that's what happens is, and you get these habits and they're very difficult because it's not even a habit, it's a program.
Absolutely.
So the program is that I'm just going to fill my plate up as much as I possibly can, chomp, 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 swallow, chomp, 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 swallow. And, with me, it was like in a household of 6 brothers. So then, you had to fill up your plate rather largely because,
You'll
a lot
fight
of times,
over the last
oh,
scoop of
yeah,
mashed
yeah,
potatoes.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And that's why we promote here, like, blender drinks are a really good way to get all your nutrition in a smoothie form so that, if you are having digestion issues, you can do blender drinks and then just have like a large salad or whatever. If you're trying to, like, if you're just getting into your eating clean, I think it's like a blender drink around noon and then a big salad and then maybe another blender drink or whatever. But
well, and the thing about blender drink is it's already broken it down, and that's what's so wonderful. Yeah. And you can get, there's often individuals, they find that it doesn't appeal to them or that doesn't appeal to them. You could certainly get those nutrients and minerals through a blender drink. That one of the major things that happens with people with blender drinks is that they put too many things in them. And I was, I certainly was guilty of that. Well, not guilty. I certainly was one of those people that did that because we don't want to go into guilt. So we ended up backing off on that, and it's actually even easier, even though the blending of it starts breaking it down because, of course, all the fibroid parts of it are already, buffered down. And so it is easier for us. And so then you can really just enjoy it and just drink it back, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For mirror work, what happens if you look in the mirror and you don't like what you see? How could you possibly not like what you see? But it happens a lot, right?
Yeah. Well, I do hundreds and hundreds of perfect day consultations, and when I bring up the emotional component of the 4 pillars of the perfect day, that we are so programmed to feel that what we have here is a vessel, and that's all it is. There's no spiritual aspects of it. There's no emotional aspects other than if we cry or get angry or any of these things that go on. Hi, Betsy. How are you doing?
Hi, Betsy.
And that's what we've been programmed to believe. And so when we step things back and we go, okay, what's going on with you? And if some people, have had some major health issues, and I'll say, okay, when did the health issues start? Oh, 2 years ago or 3 years ago. What happened to you 2 years ago or 3 years ago? And there's always something, some major stress, some, death in the family, whatever it happens to be, but it's emotional. And when you're looking at the mirror work, it is about, for the first time in your life, being able to actually look in your eyes and reflect what your energy is that's actually going into the mirror, that's coming back at you. Because when you look, we look in the mirror all the time, right? We fix our hair, blah, blah, blah. But do we actually ever really gaze into our eyes? And I'm talking nose to nose to that mirror. And so when we do that, our energy is actually, so it's a delayed reflection of our energy. So it's going into the mirror, into our eyes, and then now it's coming back and it's reflecting. So we're actually feeling our own energy. And when you're feeling your own energy and it's not very spot on, and most people it's not, that's when you're not liking what you're seeing, because you're actually feeling what energy you are emitting out into that mirror.
Yeah, it's so true. It's one of those things where I think Daryl says quite often, mirror work is one of those things that can save your life.
Yeah,
you can save your own life by doing the mirror work, because when you first start, it's a little bit awkward.
Oh yes.
At this point, like, I practice dance moves and everything in the mirror, like whatever. I'm just like, I like looking in the mirror now. But I took the course 3 times, and every single time in the Whole Life Coach, Daryl sat me in front of the mirror. Not that it got easier, because you're doing it in front of 30 people. It's a little bit different than when you're by yourself, but it does actually, it does show you where you're at. And it's about being honest and sincere with yourself, and really, there has to be intention there, I find. Because if you're not really into it, you're just looking at yourself in the mirror and lying to yourself, and when you are too, that's why you got to repeat it like 10, 15 times in a row. And then by the end of you get your groove, and then you really are gazing at your own eyes, and you're really seeing your own beauty through your own eyes. And it's really special. And I find, for me, it depends on the day I've had. It depends on the stresses, like how many times I have to repeat it to really.
Well, the thing about the mirror work, and that's where people have never really done that. And so what happens is that your subconscious mind, because we're in our subconscious mind 98% of the time, 99 most often. Yeah. So we're only in our conscious mind 1%. So that subconscious mind has been so programmed. And what will happen is that when you start doing the mirror work, because it is so foreign, and you are reflecting, it's a delayed reflection of the energy that you're putting into the gaze, and so you're actually reflecting it back into your eyes, and that can be pretty scary for some people. But what happens is that the subconscious program says, this is really silly, and stop this now. Because when I've mentioned it to people, like often during the Perfect Day consultation, is to go on to the detox.com and go to the masterclass, go to the menu, click masterclass, and then go to the emotional intelligence masterclass. And that is where it all begins. That's where true health begins, is at the emotional level. So when we get an opportunity to actually stand in front of the mirror and look there, and for the first time, it's like your eyes are going to reverse, like, I can't do this. I just can't do this. Well, if you can't gaze into your own eyes, then whose eyes can you gaze into? Not anybody, I'm sure. Yeah. And so what happens is that as you move through it, because I whoever's listening out there, I hope that you could repeat this to yourself. Whenever I feel uncomfortable, that is when I'm truly growing.
Yep.
And so when you're growing, you're uncomfortable, and then you grow. So what happens is that you look in the mirror, it feels uncomfortable, you want to run away because your subconscious mind's saying, oh, this is a silly thing to do. This isn't going to work. Like, really? I can't believe that you're doing this. And your little tiny bit of consciousness is kind of going, yeah, okay, poof, off you go, right? Because it's all about percentages. And so each time you go into the mirror and do the mirror work, that's why it's so important to put little sticky notes on there. I am love, I am healed, I am, Braveheart, I forgive myself, all of these things, and the Braveheart oath. And you look in there, and you don't fake it till you make it. You face it until you make it.
I love that one.
And you face yourself.
Yeah.
And you stand face forward and say, hey, you know what? Am I going to continue this method of operating? And so I'm not healthy, because most people that book a Perfect Day consultation aren't, in fine form and waking up every day with tons of energy and going like, yeah, they don't just book one of those just because they have nothing else to do. Yeah. No, they're booking them because they're not feeling good. Yeah. And their energy's low. They're, feeling lethargic and not going to the bathroom. They just feel, brain fog, all of these things. And then, then it goes from there, right? As the body starts, being challenged by all of these things that are basically to do with toxic belief systems and toxic body.
And stuff will happen. Like, sometimes you'll cry.
Yes.
And that's okay. Just stay there and be with yourself and let it come out at however it comes, because you'll have waves of like, just things come up like guilt or some people are dealing with shame, guilt, unable to forgive themselves for like a certain situation, or something that happened, either to that they're blaming themselves for. It's okay. It's okay to just be in the mirror with yourself and just sit with it and let those emotions flow, and just just go with it, because you will get to the point where you can get through it and really actually appreciate looking back at yourself and being able to get through it. 33 days, if you do this consistently in the morning and at night, along with some of the other things that we teach, you'll get it. you'll get it. And then you will teach your
Yeah.
children or your, friends, loved ones who might also be struggling. I mean, this band here, every time you snap it, 3, 2, 1, I got this. Doesn't matter what comes up. It brings you back to the present moment. And you might have to snap it 1,000, 2,000 times a day in the beginning. I snap mine probably still like, I don't know, 50, 100 times a day.
Oh yeah.
It's just, it sounds silly in the beginning, but this stuff works. It works.
And the bottom line is that you've got to create that unconditional love
Yeah.
for yourself, because that's
Yeah.
the only place that true healing can take place.
Yeah.
And so when you unconditionally love yourself first and foremost before anyone or anything else, then what happens is that that love that you're feeling for yourself is actually triggering the love in somebody else. And after I did the first course with Daryl, and I came home, and some of you heard the story before, but it's just so beautiful because it's just so programmed as we are as parents. So I came home, and my granddaughter was just under the age of 2, and I realized, and I came home, and she's a beautiful little girl, and I love you, and everybody's like, I love you, I love you, and I was like, whoa, okay, there's something wrong with this picture, this I love you picture. And so I said, Maria, let's go into the mirror and let's look in the mirror. And I said, you know what, honey? I said, the most important person for you to love is you. And I said, your mommy loves you, your daddy loves you, and Grammy, and of course, I mean, like, what's not to love? But the bottom line is that you need to love you. So we need to start doing mirror work. And I got her to look in the mirror and look deep into her eyes and say, I love you, Maria. And she would say that to herself all the time, right? And so then I would just kind of challenge her every so often. I go, who's the most important person to love? And she'd be like, me. And I say, and don't you forget that. And so she'll now at times, and she just turned 4, like 2 or 3 months ago. My daughter was telling me that she was just randomly playing, and she just looked up at her mommy and she goes, mommy, I love myself first before you and daddy.
Oh yeah, they'll do that. Oh man, it's just like Jasmine, we're separated right now because she's home with daddy in Canada. And about a week ago I was talking to her. She says, mommy, I don't want to hurt your feelings, but I really miss my sister a little bit more than I miss you. But I miss you too. Like I can't wait to see you. But oh man, like I really feel lost without Paisley, So
that's cute. At least she's being honest.
Yeah, yeah. But I teach this to my kids. They see me doing the mirror work, and then I put them in front of the mirror. And at this point, they both know the oath pretty well off by heart. And you just lead by example when it comes to the littles. They'll catch on eventually. I mean, I've got a fierce little 4-year-old and 5-year-old.
Yes, she does.
But
she's here with us.
Daddy and I gave them some really bad habits, and we're not going to focus on it. We are just going to just love them unconditionally and just show them the way.
I can't see who that is. Hello from.
That is.
I can't see. Hello.
Yeah, it's a little
Anyways,
bit fuzzy.
Somebody was asking about how my healing journey was going since I had the explants, and one of the main reasons that I decided to go on this journey with Sam and to make this so public as far as these as explant or implant to explant and the self-loathe to self-love. And so many things came to light over the past few weeks because there's been a lot of emotion that has been coming out because I had those implants in there for 25 years and they were under the muscle. So I recognized very quickly after the surgery that I was feeling some of the heart drop treatments that I'd had through Daryl Wolf and some of the various treatments I had to help release the emotions that were associated with calcification being built up over the heart itself, because that's what happens. I mean, even the heart gets calcified, and because it gets inflamed through the heartache or self-loathe, whatever it happens to be, right? And so with this surgery and with this journey is that what my main goal is to empower women so that they can take charge of their lives. You do not need these enhancements. And I realized mine were in there for 25 years. And when I watched the video, or I've watched parts of it, Donna's watched it. I can't right now because it's just too, everything's too fresh. Realized how much scar tissue and inflammation had been created from these foreign objects being inside of me. So not only that, but so now you've got your breasts. So mine were under the muscles. So now this
grab them.
implant is under the muscles. And yeah, perfect. Tom's going to go grab them actually. And the implant is under the muscle. So hi from Indiana. Nice. Glad you joined us. Hello. It's hard to see because it's so small. So anyways, hello everybody. Thank you for joining us today. And so with mine being under the muscle and having been in there for so long, and the size of them, the one side, here they are right here. Here are those babies. And Caracho and Escargo. Right and left. Now these things are heavy, aren't they, Dawn?
Yeah, I say they're probably 3.5, 4 pounds in total.
Yeah. Yeah. And so these babies were stuck underneath these muscles. And so of course the one side was all of the scar tissue. So the body's going to, these come into the body. The first thing the body's going to do is to create inflammation around them because it's going, hey, these don't belong. So the inflammation then will attract fibrins, lactic acid, all of those wonderful things to help wall these things off because the body is needing to do that. And that's what it does in every aspect. So a cyst is the body walling off toxins that are residing in a woman's breast, because that's where toxins get stored from, the large intestine and from toxic diet and toxic lifestyle. And so when you put something foreign in your body like these, then the body's going to be walling them off and creating scar tissue. And so the scar tissue on the one side, on the front side, was underneath the muscle, my pectoral muscle. So because of the size of them and how long they were in there for, all of that scar tissue got embedded into the striations of the muscle fibers itself. And so the doctor, because he is an absolutely amazing doctor, and he is so meticulous in what he does and his craftsmanship, is he goes in there and he finely cuts and cauterizes the pectoral muscle. But when he's doing that, he needs to also suture it because it's a pretty big surgery.
Well, when you have implants put in under the muscle, what they do when they originally go in, the surgeon goes in under the breast and then up, he cuts a pocket up into the bottom of the pectoral muscle to fit. No? Am I right on that?
Yeah, they would have to cut. Yeah.
So
have to slice it to go in.
Yeah.
That's why I couldn't breathe after I had the surgery.
Yeah.
And then the other side of it, because it's under the pectoral muscle, and by the way, 70% of breast implants are under the muscle. And so the other side of the breast implants, so now the back side, well, this is actually the back side because that's where the valve is. So the valve, when I was talking to Dr. Buenestro, that's where they fill these. Yeah, no idea, huh? A lot of women don't. They have no idea that this is what goes on because that's not in the manual. Let's get breast implants and enhance ourselves manual. So I don't know if you can see this, but right here, there's like a circle. Here, let's get this coordinated here. There's a circle right here. Well, that's where the actual implant is filled. And so that area attracts more scar tissue than other areas. And so that is actually sitting on the back side of the implant, which is sitting next to the ribs. Okay, so now when there's inflammation is acidity. So the body's only resource to buffer down acidity, because it needs to be at a slightly alkaline level at all times, is to pull calcium from the bones. So you have this inflammation going on. The body's trying to wall these things off because it's like, whoa, what the heck happened? Where these things come from? They shouldn't be here. And we are amazing beings because we can just try to correct ourselves from many things, but can't correct something that's stuck in your body and you're not removing and you're not listening to it for many years. And so then what happens at this side is that the calcification is pulled out of the ribs to buffer down the inflammation, to buffer down actually the acidity from the inflammation. And it gets the fibers of the scar tissue get intertwined and get like adhered to the ribs. So it gets actually welded onto the ribs. And so what's on the other side, especially your left breast, is your heart. So how can the heart has the strongest frequency of anything in the body. So how can your heart frequency emanate out when it's got to go through scar tissue, calcification, breast implants? I mean, like, whoa, what the heck happened to you?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
it's been quite the journey. I mean, yeah, it's been quite the journey. For any of you out there, women out there who are thinking of doing this, please think twice. This is
do not
to reverse this is I mean, I can only share what I've observed of Sharon's journey because I don't have implants and I haven't had any implants taken out, but it's been a really difficult road. And the video of Sharon's surgery, the only thing I could tell you is that, because he shows you right inside the opening, and her chest, it shows each rib and intercostal muscle. You can see her sternum. It actually looks like a T-bone steak that's a little bit overcooked in there right now, because that's how much he had to cauterize, and she didn't have a lot of pectoral muscle left after he was finished cleaning it up. The healing journey has been quite painful. You've been on fire. I think today's been your best day. I mean, I've been with you for 4 days now, 3 days, 4 days. Sharon's starting to eat now, but her energy was so low when I got here. I was concerned, but she was dehydrated and she's on the right path now. Boy, we're pumping liters of water into her now, and it's just made a substantial difference.
And I got on the critical care thundershrooms.
Thundershrooms.
And you know what? Who knew, right?
Yeah.
Who really knew as to what, and you don't really know, right?
Yeah.
Until the doctor goes in there. And so, you know, what this does though, is that this gives me the ability to help guide any woman in this world on any realm, any spectrum of implant to explant, because I know exactly what we need to do. I know exactly what we need to do emotionally, which is the key. Because what happens is that there's inflammation that is being created when these things are put in. But it doesn't mean just because they're taken out that there's not going to be inflammation. If you haven't dealt with the emotional components associated with what's going on with you on your feminine side, which is your left side, and on your masculine side. So it's about balance. And so what's really been coming to light for me, because of the nature of the actual surgery, is that the balance, and it's been my left breast that has been the most imbalanced.
But the right one's giving her more trouble right now.
Yeah, it's like they just kind of like playing ping pong. And so, yeah, exactly. Okay, what's going on with my masculine side today? Okay, what's going on with my feminine side today? I don't know. I just kind of like try to like let everything go on both sides of the fence. And then it's like, you know, at first it was like the right side was like, I just kept saying to Dawn, oh, if it was like the right side, it'd be like a cakewalk all the way through this thing. And then it was like, bing, it was like, right side was like, okay, you know what? You just were like, just getting a little too cocky on.
Yeah.
So anyways.
You were on fire last night. On fire underneath that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you also had that treatment yesterday too.
Well, yeah, and the really good thing about what's going on here in Guadalajara is that they have these doctors in Mexico. Doctors are post-operative, like surgical, post-surgical doctors. And you go in there, and so there was ultrasound, and she goes in there and actually manipulates and massages and moves out. Because at first I was having some blood clots and, you know, and things like that. But now, you know, and I'm going to look at bringing her on board as far as being able to teach other ultrasound technicians how they can do these techniques on women that have had explants. Because it's there's so many lymph nodes within this region, and there's so much fluid, and the body's going to inflame because, of course, somebody just went in there and cut all the pectoral muscles and had to suture them back together and reconstruct the pectoral muscles. And then on the other side, scraped away off the ribs. Well, I think there's going to be a little bit of inflammation just because the body's going to try to heal. And that's why they put drains in, because, of course, the body's, and also just removing any toxicity associated with that. So it's going very good. I bump things up a notch, but you don't know until you go through the journey. And I know exactly what notches each one of you need to take. So just give me a call. And the other factor is that unless you deal with the emotional components, so there is a process. So that's why we're putting together the masterclass.
Yeah.
From implant to explant masterclass. So you know exactly what you need to do pre-surgical, resting phase, and post-surgical, because those are very important phases so that then you can rebound. And when you realize that 70% of the women, their implants are under the muscles, that doesn't necessarily need to be the fact that it needs to go to the point that I have gone to in regards to, because it's also dependent on how big the implants are that are under the muscle. They're a smaller implant and the length of time that they're there. So there's all these different factors.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. And guys, like we'll have all the information within that masterclass that you're going to need. The emotional part of the the pre-operative stage, you need to get your head right. You need to know exactly why you're doing something, and you need to prepare yourself the best you can. And that's where somebody like Sharon comes in and will help you to prepare. And then we'll probably have Dr. Gwen Mastro probably be a little part of that. Probably your other doctor, Myra,
Yes.
maybe would give us a little bit of help. But yeah, that course is going to be top notch.
Yeah.
Top notch.
And we're producing other courses. I mean, we're going to continue with the pain-free pelvic course, and there's going to be personal treatment and training where I could fly to you and actually do some pre-operative work to open up the calcification. You could come down to the Ixtapa World Healing and Training Center. We could do Celsonic, because most women have a horseshoe, whether you have implants or not, because we've all worn the underwire bras. And so the underwire bras act as an antenna from all the EMFs, creating inflammation, go figure. Mm-hmm. So why couldn't they just do, why couldn't they do plastic wire bras? But no, they had to use underwire because it acts like an antenna, and then it creates inflammation under the breast area. So that inflammation is acidic, and so the body has to pull calcium from the bones in order to be able to buffer down the acidity, and you get this horseshoe. And most of you women out there, you can actually lift up your breast and feel underneath, and you'll feel a little ridge, and we call it the horseshoe, and that is actually calcification. That is preventing the blood flow to the breast itself. Because when, another thing that we really need to understand is that the body produces fat in order to be able to store toxins. That's the first storage tank of toxins. And because we live such a toxic, emotional, spiritual, and physical lifestyle, that then if we as women aren't producing fat fast enough, the next best storage shed for toxins is the breast. And that's when I was talking about, how a cyst will be walled off, just like the breast implant will be walled off with inflammation to kind of like buffer down, and the scar tissue formation, and then it'll become harder, it becomes a fibroid, and then it can become a tumor. But a tumor doesn't mean that it's, it's cancer, but they've even kind of messed up with that term. And as soon as somebody says I have a tumor, then it's like everybody's like, whoa. But that's what the body does, because that's what we, as this beautiful energetic being that we have, knows that this energy shouldn't be in. And when we're talking about, what happened after my surgery, and somebody asked the question, like, what does it actually mean to be a brave heart? And how do you know that you have your brave heart, Ro? You know, it's not about being a hero or anything. And I managed to do this without taking one pharmaceutical drug after the surgery. And I did some CBD and arnica and visualization and curcumin cayenne. I was popping like 12 of those a day to bring down the inflammation as quickly as I possibly can. And I just really breathe through it and whatnot. Because for myself, it wasn't about being a Braveheart hero or about, having that badge. What it was is that I didn't want to instill any more toxins because I knew that the toxins from the anesthesiologist and the anesthesia and any of the drugs that were associated with just having the surgery was going to put inflammation into my body, and I didn't need to add any more. And so I thought, I'm not doing this not to be a hero, but to do it the Braveheart way, because we are so programmed to just go take a pill and numb ourselves out. And we were just talking about it last night, weren't we?
Yeah, we were. I dozed off a little bit last night and I woke up. It was about, must have been, I don't know, 10:30, quarter to 11. And, immediately I thought, oh my God, I have to get up and check on Sharon because she doesn't have any water beside her. What if she needs to get up to bed? Just something told me I had to go check on her. And when I walked in the room, oh my gosh, she was not in a good place. But she was just in the moment. It was overwhelming. And, it's like you just got to bring yourself back. But sometimes, you just need, I don't know, Sharon, you bounce back so quickly from that.
Yeah, and
she's not interested to stay there in those moments. No. She's just like, okay, what is the solution for myself right now? What can I do for myself right now? Or what can I ask for myself that, how can I honor myself just to get myself through this? But we were sitting there on the side of the bed and I said, my God, what a road, eh? I said, most people would not have been able to do this without painkillers. It's just at times really excruciating, and I can see how much of a struggle it is. But imagine all the much more inflammation that your body would make if you're numbing your brain into thinking that you're not in pain anymore and you're up and running and doing all these things.
Yeah.
What the heck is going on for your healing? If you're, and I'm guilty of it. I'll tell you right now, there have been times in my life I've taken painkillers. Not sure I'd do it now. I don't think I would. But it's got to take some courage. And I've never walked the shoes, so I can't even sit here and lie to you guys. But it's I said to Sharon, my God, imagine the inflammation that you would have built up if you're on painkillers. I mean, it's all this burning and pain is still going on. It's just you're taking something to numb it out. And so it would just be that much more scar tissue because you're working against your own body once you numb it out and trick your brain into thinking that you can just get up and run around and do whatever you want. So,
and the other thing that happens when you, yeah, it is. And the other thing that happens when you numb yourself with the painkillers is that you're not feeling, because a lot of the pain is the emotional pain that's coming out. Yeah. Certainly the body's reacting because it was like traumatized. And but the what you need to really do is to release and let go of all of the factors associated. So when I went back and because if we don't release those emotions, then these toxic bags that were in there that the body's trying to wall off with inflammation, you'll just create inflammation emotionally. And it's the emotional, it's the invisible that is the biggest culprit in our health.
Yeah.
And so what will happen is that if I didn't feel this and allow some of the sadness that I felt on the left side and some of the other things that were going on my right side, is that then they will get trapped in there and create more inflammation. And then they'll create more scar tissue. Just because they're gone physically doesn't mean that you can't create scar tissue or inflammation of scar tissue emotionally, because that's where it starts, right? When you hear people, oh, my neck is just like, oh my gosh, all this stuff, right? It's because you got the weight of the world on the shoulders. And so then it's creating inflammation. Your adrenaline's going crazy because you're so full of anxiety. and stress and all of these things, right? So all of that creates a steady drip of adrenaline into the body, which creates inflammation. And the last thing that I was going to do was to allow it to control me to such a point where I was going to feel sorry for myself. I mean, tears came out, but that's okay. But I wasn't sitting there like bawling all day, feeling sorry for myself. It was emotion coming out, just like what happened last night. Then you just let it out, and then you regroup, and then it's good. Because if you don't let it out, then that gets trapped. And that's what it's all about.
Totally.
It's all about the emotional intelligence. And that's where the masterclass comes into play. And that's where the mirror work, where you know what, like you don't like what you see when you get the reflection back.
Yeah.
And I don't know, Dawn, if you can read those.
Yeah, I'm trying to read them, but they're really small.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to get close here for a sec, guys, because I really, Jeffrey or somebody in the studio, I don't know if you guys can make the question screen any bigger for us. I don't care if we can see our own faces. I just, I don't know if those are questions.
Okay, if we can move to the right, we can make it bigger. Move our bodies physically to the right. Okay, just one moment. We're just figuring this out. Okay, move to the right. Okay, what's right?
Go your way. And so Jeffrey, bring the questions.
Oh no, he must mean that way.
Okay.
Okay.
So a buddy system is always helpful. Haven't worn, yeah, I can't see the whole screen, Jeffrey, or whoever I'm talking to.
So we need to move that way. There we go. Okay, we're getting this figured out.
We want to answer your questions.
Wonderful ladies, God bless. That's always good. And I'm not sure how we can scroll down.
I'll just touch on the buddy system a little bit while we figure out this technical stuff. Yeah, the buddy system. Yeah, you know what? I don't know, because Sharon had Lorraine and Sam here with her, and you know that was great. I mean, they all.
Which way?
Are we moving the right way, guys?
There you go.
Good Lord.
Okay.
We just have fun. We don't stress this stuff. Haven't worn a bra. Yeah, I'm trying to.
Yeah, that's much
haven't
better.
worn a bra in 20 years. That's awesome, Gia.
And that's, you know, that's excellent because, and so Sherry's asked, I need more information about releasing emotional. Now, one of the best ways to approach that is to book yourself a perfect day emotional consultation, because we go deeper into how you can address the emotional component. Because once you get control of your emotions, the ultimate goal is to have absolute utter chaos going on around you, which is what's pretty much happening now. And you can sit and be in a place of peace without getting all like driven into that and your adrenaline going crazy. You know, the adrenals were created for a reason. So that we could, you know, jump out of the way of a moving car. And we go to walk across the street and car screeches around the corner and you're like, oh my gosh, and you jump out and you go like, whoa, I just like jumped like 20 feet in the air and did a tumble. And you're like, well, I can't believe I just did that. And then, so what happens, because that was actually a real physical danger. So the adrenaline system kicks in, makes you a super person. You can jump like 20 feet. And then you sit back and you go, okay, take a few breaths, it's over with, and off you go with your day.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I mean, just being here with Sharon, I mean, my main goal when we decided I was going to come down here was like, well, I want to make sure that she's getting the nutrition she needs, the hydration and the nutraceuticals, and just make sure, you know, if she needs anything emotionally, or physically. I mean, it's been quite a journey. And so that's pretty much been my role. But I mean, Sharon's had a lot of emotional release since I've been here. I mean, it happens, especially after, you know, some of the treatments that she's doing. I mean, they're quite painful. And, you know, she's having to dig deep because she's not on any painkillers. So, you know, I think was it yesterday afternoon? You know, there was some tears, you know, and I'm not here to pity her or, you know, say, oh, come here, you know, it's okay, you're going to be okay. Like, you just got to let it out sometimes and just let it be in that moment. And then it just passes, you know, you give people their space to to go through what they're going through emotionally. And it's really important. We get taught that in the whole life coach course quite a bit, and the Wolf Non-Surgical. When somebody has an emotional release, no matter how desperate they look or what they're going through, you leave them,
you give them a space
in their space, unless they're reaching out to you. That's different. But
well, and one of the biggest things, Sherry, is that releasing emotions. Okay, people go, like I really they cry about the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. Well, that's not an emotional release. That's an entrapment within the victimization and the trauma that's associated with that. And as I've moved through, and I've been in that room at the Whole Life Coach. I believe the last time was, what did I say, number 12? And it's really beautiful, because every time I go in that room, I learn something more about myself and get to observe others. And it's really a wonderful place to be, because it is about the layers. It is about the journey. I'm never going to get it. And so every day I'm going to try to get it 1% better, 1% better, 1% better. But I do know what my commitment is. My commitment is to the focus, so that then I can be a guide and a leader, so that I can lead myself first and then lead others. Because if I can prevent one woman from ever going through what I just went through. That's what this is all about.
And we've talked about it many times. This is Sharon, you know what? This is just what your healing is supposed to look like. This is the path. This is your destiny, because you are just that strong to be able to shoulder this, so that you can empower other women to be able to make it through. And, if we can save one woman from putting herself through this, like before implants, great. But even better if we can empower another woman to take her health back and take her life back and take control of her emotions and look in that mirror and love what she sees, no matter if there's implants or not. So, all that inflammation and scar tissue, just get rid of it. Just get rid of it. And Sharon will be here for you to go through that with you, because I think on a scale of 1 to 10, I think this is just on a difficulty scale. This is definitely up there near the 10, if not a 12. And we're not loathing or complaining. It's not. I've observed this to be a bumpy road. A bumpy road, and the roads are pretty bumpy here in Mexico too. So
well, they are. But she's really good at maneuvering them. And and it was fabulous to be down here and have the group of beautiful women and the Braveheart woman that's sitting beside me, and with Sam and it's like, now it's like, okay, let's just maneuver through this, because every little phase, every day, teaching me more, just like last night, teaching me more. We recognized where that trigger was coming from. And so it came to light. But I'll tell you one thing that's coming to light is that the blockages that these implants were creating in me, that I'm getting much more downloads, because I'm flowing, because we are electromagnetic energy light beings. We are all about frequency. And so how can a person's frequency flow properly when the solar plexus are so bound with scar tissue from these implants that have decided to attach themselves all the way up the sternum and into the solar plexus themselves? So and then the heart, and it all. So you've got all of our energy grids. We just cannot flow properly. So the amount of downloads I'm getting now, and the intuitive side, it's like really cool. So I can't wait until I'm like right back to fine form, because when you have your pectoral muscles reconstructed, it's
you guys will see the video sometime and say,
maybe one day.
My God.
Maybe one day.
Somebody's asking, Sherry Short is asking, what are you ladies drinking?
Oh, go ahead.
We're drinking structured water with black diamond crystals. It's a thing.
Yeah. Well, okay. So Daryl Wolf has attracted such high frequency, inventors, I guess. Inventor makes you think mechanically, but these people that are these producers of these most wonderful products, C60, attracted the humic acid that comes from a lake bed, a tertiary lake bed that the dinosaurs fed on, the plant life in Alberta, Canada. And so what this is this is black gold, and it comes from the humic acid from this tertiary lake bed in Alberta, Canada. And humic acid, it has been tested, it's the only one that has no heavy metals in the world. And so this is black diamond crystals. So it is a very high energetic molecule that has been extracted. So it contains humic and fulvic acid, and it actually crosses the blood-brain barrier. Now, how cool is that? It works at the cellular level and it crosses the blood-brain barrier.
So it goes in and drops off like over 70 ancient nutrients, not just nutrients, like nutrients from when the dinosaurs were rampant. And I think it's Drumheller, actually. Drumheller, BC is.
Yeah, it is Drumheller. Yeah. But if I say it's
like
Alberta,
near the like
Drumheller,
but it Alberta. Is near. It is Alberta.
It is Alberta,
and yes. It's near like the. Is that the
Calgary?
Calgary.
Yes,
I've been there. I've been to Drumheller.
Yeah,
yeah. I went and got a.
So if I say Drumheller, Alberta, yeah, they'll have to know Alberta, because a lot of people might not know Alberta, right? And so, but very good question. So what we do is we drink the black diamond, and it goes in and it chelates heavy metals and toxins out of the cell, and it will cross the blood-brain barrier. Yeah. So now, how many people have brain fog? Anybody want to like put their hand up? Yeah, I'm now getting unfoggy again after the surgery, but that's all about toxins. And so toxins, it all comes from the holy grail of the large intestine, because we're not having regular bowel movements, and that leaching of toxins coming through the intestinal wall, getting into our bloodstream, being drawn up into the cellular level, into the brain through the coccyx tail. And so we need this as a daily regime, because even if our large intestine was working very properly, we cleaned it all up, with due to compaction, etc. Then there you go, Sherry. You've got brain fog. So this will help with brain fog, but I'll tell you what will really help with your brain fog is to book a perfect day consultation and really get a strategy with all the protocols in place.
Yeah.
So that then you can, from the moment that you wake up, at the moment that you go to sleep, that you know exactly what you're going to do to edge yourself every single day a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better.
Yeah.
That's what it's about.
Some of the other products that Sharon's taking right now religiously are Ocean Essentials, which are fatty acids.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, tons of C60, black diamond in the water, black gold in the, like she's having at least a blender drink a day. She had a whole meal last night and had a blender drink today and had lunch.
Mm-hmm.
Like you are coming around.
I am coming around, yes.
Digestive enzymes. What else? Iodine, an ounce of iodine every day. Curcumin cayenne.
Curcumin cayenne is really important, because it really, and it's very important for everybody, because we are inflammation. We're inflamed. Yeah. When people are like, I look at my face and I'm like, feel like I'm like really puffy. And why am I really puffy? Well, you're really puffy, or my ankles are really puffy. They're swollen. Oh my gosh, it was just because I was on them for too long. No, actually, your body is retaining as much fluid as it possibly can, because you're inflamed, and inflamed, you're on fire. So the body has to pull, retain the water as much as you possibly can to buffer down the fire from the inflammation. And that's where curcumin cayenne, heavy dosages of it.
And most people just numb themselves out with Advil, Tylenol, all the other like over the counter, muscle relaxer, stuff like that. And I've been guilty of it in the past. I haven't taken a Tylenol, an Advil, a Robax, a Benadryl. Like I haven't taken any of that stuff for quite a long time now, but I was addicted to it all. So, so we all start there.
If anybody has any other questions, we're getting close. We're trying to keep the shows for around an hour.
Yeah.
And, what's the future look like? We're hoping that, as soon as possible, get out of here and start working diligently on the masterclass, the one-day masterclass from implants to explants. Oh, Tammy has asked, can I take curcumin with my, I don't know what she's
stomach. With a stoma. Oh, a stoma. Curcumin, can I take curcumin with my stoma? Well, Yeah, I would think she could still take the
Well, yeah, I mean,
curcumin. I mean, there'd be inflammation all around that thing.
that's right. And you know what? The thing is that it's inflammation. And so what you do is you take curcumin, and if you have high acidity within your body, it may end up a colostomy. Yeah, of course you can. Colostomy. And yes, absolutely take it, because what it's going to do is it's going to buffer down the inflammation.
Mm-hmm.
And the inflammation, you can end up getting a bit of digestive issues where it feels a little bit burny, but it's only like 3% cayenne and 97% curcumin.
Mm-hmm.
But what happens is that if you're feeling a little gassy or a little bit of indigestion after you take the curcumin, because ideally you need to take the curcumin cayenne 5,000 on an empty stomach, and then just take baking soda, a level teaspoon of baking soda in a glass of warm structured water twice per day. And that will help buffer that down, because what's actually going on is that the cayenne there's not enough cayenne to really create the burning. It's the fact that you're very toxic. And if you have a colostomy bag, that there's reason that well, anyways, I won't even go there with that. But the colostomy bag is indicative of the fact that you were not going to the bathroom. And so all those toxins were being shed into your system. So for somebody like yourself, you need to be on the black diamond, the curcumin cayenne, black gold. It works in the intestinal tract, at least helps scrub the intestinal tract the best that you possibly can with the situation you're dealing with. And the infinite iodine, because you need to buffer down any infection.
Gentle daily cleansing tea.
Yes.
For life.
Yeah,
for life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so these are, but yes, you could take any of these products when you have things like colostomies. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so is there anything else?
Yeah. So somebody asked, what's it mean to hold the line?
What does it mean to hold the line
for yourself?
Well, what it means to hold the line for myself is that, I can only use examples of what I used to be like before. Mm-hmm. And I was somebody that was always doing things for somebody. Do. At the end of the day, many of us women are like that. At the end of the day, you flop into bed, you go, whoa, what just happened? And then you exhaust yourself, and the next day you do the same thing, because you're not respecting yourself enough to say no. So when you can look in the mirror and say, you know what, I don't really feel right about going to that place. Oh, but I feel like I need to go because this person's going to be there and that person's going to be there. Or, I don't really like the crowd, but I'm going to go anyways because I feel like I, need to. You know what? You look in the mirror and you decide, if I truly loved, honor, and respected myself, would I do that? And you would be like, if the answer is no, then you draw the line, and you're not responsible for other people's feelings. And you don't have to be mean about it or anything like that. You could just say, I'm honoring myself and I just don't feel right about this. And holding the line in regards to your convictions. And so that is about, if I say yes to this, is this dishonoring myself?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, excuse me while I love myself for the first time in my life.
Yeah.
And I will hold the line for myself. I will do this for myself first and foremost, and then we'll think about other people. I think it's like, it's moment to moment that you have to hold the line for yourself. Like, it's situational. Like, sometimes you'll find yourself in a situation where, somebody wants to complain or loathe or just tell you things that you really don't want to hear, but you don't know how to get out of it. Or family is the worst. Family can be the worst, because either you live with them, or they're your parents, or your older children, or you just holding the line for yourself just means that you will not dishonor yourself with dysfunctional thoughts or behaviors any longer. It just means that you will put yourself first and take care of yourself and honor yourself first, and then be the light for other people.
Yeah.
And once you start to do that and you start to vibrate higher, you will find that these types of situations and things will filter out. But it is a bit of a struggle in the beginning, because people will say things to you like, you're so different now. Perfect. I'm right on point.
Yeah, really.
I'm on the right track. Somebody ever says to you, you're just not the same person you used to be. Like, you're different now.
Yeah.
Perfect, baby. I'm on track.
You don't want to be the program dysfunctional person that you were created to be.
And that's happened
So
many
thank you,
times.
everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. And thank you, everybody. And Tammy, I'm not sure if you had a perfect day consult in regards to your question, but we'll try to answer that afterwards in the comments. And in regards to black gold, you don't mix black gold in water. It's the black diamond that goes into the water. The black gold will go into your blender drink, so you can put it in soup, sprinkle it on your food. It works at the intestinal level. So we're going to bring up the slide about the upcoming events and studio, wonderful video people. If you can bring up the dates here, perfect. So we've got St. Lazare, Quebec. We have a wolf non-surgical certification that's running from August 18th to the 29th. There's actually 2 spots that are available that have just come up. So one more spot has come up. So if you want to take advantage of Sage being in St. Lazare, Quebec, and you could become a wolf non-surgical certified practitioner, change your life, change many people's lives. From that course, you can start your practice, and you'll know exactly what needs to happen as far as the non-surgical goes, and how you can actually open up scar tissue and displace calcium. So live and Barry on Sunday, Daryl's doing a one-day presentation, Mind Your Business, Mind Your Health, and that's Sunday, August the 7th. From 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. It's live from the Simmering Kettle restaurant with my beautiful friend Shalou owns. And Shalou has just ended up getting herself a Salsonic to add to her practice. And I believe that the live positions have all been taken, but you can come in and you can watch it via Zoom or Facebook. So we'll just have to turn off your sound. Turn off my sound. Okay. Yes, so you can attend that lecture that Daryl's doing on August the 7th at via online. And there's a few other lectures coming up in McKinney, Texas, and that's on Sunday, August 21st from 1:30 p.m. to 4 p.m. Athletes of all ages, reverse the irreversible, stay off the bench. This is perfect. And then also in McKinney, Texas, Daryl's doing another one-day lecture on the 22nd, the following day, from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. No more drugs, surgery, implants. No more implants of any sort, because even the knees and the hips, they don't need to be done either. So we're not just talking about body enhancement implants. Canes, walkers, or wheelchairs, say no more. So that's on the 22nd of August in McKinney, Texas. So we also have upcoming neural practitioner certifications. I don't know if you can read that where you're at, but Donna, you can.
Well, we've got neural practitioner certification August the 25th through to September 15th.
And that's in McKinney, Texas.
McKinney, Texas. Then we've got Ixtapa, Mexico.
September 10th.
There goes my screen.
Yeah,
you know what,
I know when Ixtapa, Mexico is, and the Whole Life Coach starts on September the 10th. And it goes to the 18th, and then the Wolf Non-Surgical starts a couple days after, and it goes for 12 days after
there
that.
we go.
So then
we're back in Barrie, Ontario for another NWP certification course starting October 5th through to October 27th. And then back in Ixtapa, Mexico again, starting up on October 24th through to November 14th. And then we will break for December, and we'll be back at it in Ixtapa, Mexico, January 16th through to February 7th.
And the something to keep in mind is that at any point in time, somebody can pay for a personal treatment and training, and we can fly to you as master trainers. And so you go to personaltreatmentandtraining.com. So if any of these topics, and you can get a group of people together, and you can actually learn how to work on each other and help heal each other. And it covers the nutritional, the emotional, as well as the Wolf non-surgical. So it's not a certification course, but it at least gives you a really wonderful start on your journey. So shall we say oh yes, and if you have any questions in regards to signing up for any of these courses, please call 855 900 4544 extension number 5 and put your name in there, because these spots are going fast. And the first course in Barrie has been completely filled up. So take advantage of this, because who knows when we're going to be back in Canada again with all this shenanigans going on. And or just come down to the World Healing and Training Center. Absolutely. And you could go to braveheartnation.com and don't miss the couple of spots left in St. Lazare, Quebec. And let's finish it with the Braveheart Oath.
Okay. All right. I am love.
I am healed. I am Braveheart. Today and every day, from the moment that I rise until I gently close my eyes, I will you start with trust. Okay, you start with trust. Trust, honor, respect, protect, forgive, and totally love myself unconditionally, first and foremost, before anyone or anything else. So help me God. Because I am, I can, I am healed, I am Braveheart. Hear me roar. So 3, 2, 1. You got this, and we'll see you next week. And stay tuned for what we're going to have going on, and we'll have our shows all figured out. And we love you. Thanks for joining us.
Have a beautiful day.